Welcome to One More Round with Josh Norris. Today I'm very excited. I got my good friend Dominic Majors here with me. So Dominic goes by Dom, is a strong legal advocate who is dedicated to helping those in need. Dom was born in Dallas, Texas, and was raised in Northern California on his family's ranch in Clayton. Dom is a graduate of Northern Arizona University, where he received a Bachelor's of Science in Small Business Administration, and later attended Summit Law School, where he received his Juris Doctorate. Dom finished in the top 25% of his law school class and received Cali Award for Professional Responsibility in Bankruptcy Law. Dom has also been recognized for his pro bono service and volunteer work in Arizona. Welcome, Dom.
Thank you, Josh. My life story in 20 seconds. I love it. Sounded great.
I'm like, well, we've been working together for like 3 years. I'm like,
Yep.
There's so much more than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I started, and I probably should add a couple things because a lot has changed since a couple things have been changed since that's been written. But for the most part, I opened up a firm, and I've got another kid that we've added to the household, and so. Life's been good. Last 3 years have been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, you're married, 3 kids. That wasn't mentioned. So,
Yep.
How old are the kids?
So my oldest, Dominic Jr., he's 11. My little Francesca is 5, and then Angelino is just turned 1.
Also, what's it like with Angelino being added to the mix?
It's great. Earlier today I was on a phone call, and I work remotely at my house sometimes, and our house is pretty loud, and in my office there's a hallway, and he let one roar, like he was just screaming, and it adds a little bit of adds a little chaos to the workday, but my clients are pretty understanding, and I'm a normal guy and like everybody else, and I have a family, and just something you just have to deal with, and work through it.
Yeah, he's a cute kid, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was watching, I think it was one of your stories last night, and he just wasn't having you for whatever reason.
Yeah, he doesn't like when I say like his name in a deep voice and I say it loud, he becomes overwhelmed with emotion, and he has the cutest sad face, and so I had to capture it because I don't obviously like him feeling sad, but it was worth sharing for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've been in law now, kind of way before you went to school, right? You kind of grew up in the business a little bit.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to go that direction and into law?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I worked for a couple of family firms growing up. I started in high school working for a bankruptcy firm, and I started in the accounting department, and then as my legal career moved forward, I worked in various departments, and then I was at a point where, as a non-lawyer, you can only do so much. You can't advise, you really can't advocate, you can't go to court, and so I felt like I had a bigger calling. And so, one day I looked at my wife, and I looked at at the time it was my son Dominic, who was I think about 1, and I looked at him right in the eyes, and I was like, dude, we're going to law school, and we're going to make it happen. And so, made a lot of big life changes. I was very set and comfortable, and things were great, and I just felt like I had a bigger purpose, and I felt like there was more out there for me. And like you, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I felt like I wanted a bigger challenge.
Yeah. So you went to law school in Flagstaff.
So actually, I went to law school here in Phoenix.
Okay.
I went to NAU for my undergrad. Go Lumberjacks. But funny story is I actually never stepped foot on campus at NAU because I did everything, remote learning, if you will. And so I got my associate's degree at Mesa Community College, and then there was this fast track program to get my bachelor's, and I basically knocked out 2 years worth of school in 6 months. Got it all done, passed, got obviously good grades, and then quickly applied to law school, and then got accepted to Arizona Summit here in Phoenix.
Awesome. What was law school like?
It was definitely at first you're kind of it's a new thing. It's it's a big responsibility. It's a big cost, and so initially I think a lot of people, including myself, you question decisions when you find the real pressure of studying through the exams and all the competition that you'd have in school, and law school was a very interesting dynamic because your grades are based on a bell curve, and whoever scores the highest, that's the top score. And so there was a lot of pressure, but for me at first it was a new muscle learning to flex, and then essentially I found it like I found it fun because I wanted to compete and I wanted to do well and do better. And so naturally, I connected with all everyone who was in the top of the class, and would work with them. But ultimately, I would try to beat them. And so those people motivated me, and I wasn't trying to do better than them, but I wanted to obviously be the best. And so I just it was interesting. Law school was a very interesting experience. At the end of the day, I'm very thankful because it helped me prepare for the bigger thing, which was the bar exam, and that's a totally different mental thing you got to prepare for. But it was good. It was it teaches you how to work through stress and manage learn when you have to as a lawyer you have to learn and read and interpret the law and be able to do analysis. And so I was very fortunate to have some great professors and people that were able to teach me along the way.
So the bar exam, because I know a lot of attorneys, and I always ask them, how was that? Was it easy? Was it hard? And for the most part, they're like, yeah, it's hard. And a lot of them are like, yeah, I didn't pass the first time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the bar exam is not an easy undertaking. I mean, at the end of the day, it takes months of preparation. Some people prepare longer. I took at least 6 months to prepare for the first exam. And it's like anything else. If you want to excel at it, you have to basically practice, and learn what you're not good at, and then you reinforce those areas, and then you do it again. Anybody that takes the bar will find it's a constantly deflating process. It's not there to say, hey, you're great at this. It's meant bar prep is meant to you to learn what you're not strong at and improve there. So that time of my life, it wasn't easy, but you just got to put in the time, and then be willing to learn from your mistakes and strive at getting better at them. So.
Awesome. So you graduated, you got the bar exam done. Did you go into private practice right away, or what did you do?
So after I graduated, I was waiting for results. So I was at my family for my sister-in-law's firm here in Phoenix, and I knew my whole plan was to open up my own office. So when I received my license, I practiced with them for a couple months, and then I departed and opened up my own firm.
Yeah. And that's something you always wanted to do. I mean, ever since we met, I'm like, I know we're cut from the same cloth. You're an entrepreneur. You're competitive. Got the personality for it. But what made you decide to stick with bankruptcy and go that realm?
I like bankruptcy. There's a lot of other areas of law to pick from, but for me, a big thing for me is helping people. I like to advocate for the little guy, and not saying my clients are them, but they're usually uninformed and they don't know their rights, and I'm able to help them seek relief and make their financial situation better. And so being that I did that for so long, and I started out there in a bankruptcy firm when I was younger, I feel very comfortable with it. I've been in a lot of different situations. I've been exposed to a lot of complex matters. I've resolved a lot of complex matters, and so I just felt like it was my natural calling to stick in the realm that I've been plugged into.
And you started in your own practice in the beginning. It was just you, Allie, your wife.
So when I first opened my office, I was handling my first few months. I was handling everything on my own. So setting up my office, client retention, accounting. The first 2 months, it started slow and it started building up, and I built this system, and then. When I was able to bring my wife on, she managed my accounting, and then eventually as time grew, we just kind of added more staff and just added more help as we grew. But yeah, initially I was the first employee and running everything all by myself, and it was an interesting time.
What was the first 6 months like?
But you would know. No, it was good. A lot of being an entrepreneur and opening a business, I've learned that there's going to be times of uncertainty, there's going to be times of doubt, and you question if you're doing the right thing. And I was so lucky; I had so many so many people supporting me, including yourself, and luckily all my hard work turned into results, and I was able to build, expand and add on help. And I remember the first week I was open, I just looked around and I was like, man, this is a lot to undertake by myself. But I took a deep breath and I just said, you know what, I'm going to just do the right thing. I'm going to take care of my clients, and I'm just going to work hard, and I'm not going to stop until I achieve the success. And the first few months was, the first month was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing here? And then after the second month, I'm like, all right, I'm in a rhythm. And then the third month, we were in a rhythm, and just things were going and growing, and things were just increasing. And then by 6 months, I had hired another attorney, had a paralegal, and we were just moving forward. It was great.
Yeah, when I remember when we first met, we started doing your PPC and stuff, and then we became pretty close. And you had shown me your growth plan. I remember the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, this is great. And you're like, yeah, here's this. It was only maybe a couple minutes. You hit almost all that, and then exceeded it, didn't you?
I mean, I'd say for goals wise, if I recall correctly, we did follow the track of the growth. I can't say if it was verbatim, exact numbers, but I had an idea and a structure, and I was like, if I implement this and if I do this, it should result to this, and it did exceed that. And I think the ultimate bottom line, yeah, we did grow pretty quickly. And the good thing is like, my whole firm and everything I do is just founded on doing the right thing, right? And working hard for the people that hire you. And so I've always kept that mentality even to this day. Like, I still put in the time, and that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur and run a business. Like, it's not a 9 to 5.
So what are some things you would say are fundamentals for somebody starting out a business, not necessarily a law firm, that you would say, do this and it's going to set you up for much better success?
The biggest thing I would say is don't expect to be comfortable.
Yeah.
If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to grow and you want to target, obtain certain goals, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And if you are not uncomfortable, in my opinion, you're not doing it right. Because my whole, that first 6 months, there was a lot of times where I was like, I'm uncomfortable. This to me is, it seems like it's a serious undertaking, and it was. But like I said, if you work hard, you do the right thing, you take care of your clients or your customers or whatever you do, all of those things come back to you. The clients, they stay with you. They'll stay with you, and as long as you treat them well and you take care of them. So the biggest thing is being willing to take risk, and it's not going to feel good. You might not sleep well at night. You might not. I remember there was a couple nights where, like, for the first month, like, I would just, before I would go to bed, I would just say, am I doing the right thing for me and my family? And I always reassured myself I was. But as an attorney, you learn to be objective. Like, you don't just, say this is, of course I'd bet on myself and things like that. But at the end of the day, you got to analyze risk and ultimately make sure, what you're doing is realistic and feasible. But I could say at the end of the day, the benefits far outweigh the risks, and it was absolutely worth it to proceed.
Yeah. Well, and two, like you were talking about, being uncomfortable is important because you're uncomfortable because you don't know what to expect.
The uncertainty.
You've never done it, right?
Right.
But I like what you said when you were going to bed, talking about, is this the right thing for me and my family? And I've gotten to know you, well. You and I have had a lot of, I would say, uncomfortable conversations over the last 3 years. But that's what it takes.
Right.
And it's never negative. It's just, let's talk about it. Let's make sure that we're going the right direction. Very pragmatic thinking. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, because relationships are extremely important. I think that's number one. But number two is making sure that even though you have strong relationships, you're always willing to have the hard conversations.
Absolutely.
And you've done that. I mean, obviously we've done that, but I know you've done that probably in every aspect.
Yeah, and that's it. And I have to say, it's been really, you've been such a big supporter of me, and you've taught me a lot. And it's not being reactive, right? It's not, we don't make drastic changes and let's change everything up. It's more about let's talk it out and let's be methodical. And so I got to thank you, dude. I know I've said that to you many times, that I've learned a lot of I'm a Tasmanian devil, if you will. I like to move quickly. I thrive under pressure, and I like, and I want results yesterday, right? And so you've taught me a lot of patience and restraint with respect to that kind of stuff. And things don't happen overnight. It's what you do now and what you did yesterday is what's going to determine what you have moving forward.
Yeah, and I won't go over like your goals, but I will say it's been fun because, like, you've always told me, like, cool, we want to do this number, we want to do this number, And sometimes it took 2-3 months, and we're like, okay, what do we need to do with the ad spend? What do we need to adjust? But then you hit every single number. It's just which is fun to watch.
I appreciate that. It's been a fun ride, and we got a lot of time in business left together, and I can't wait for the next 3 years. It's going to be a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, and you've expanded, right? So you're in Arizona.
Yep.
You're in Washington. I know there's a couple other places you're looking.
Yeah.
What's it like managing something that isn't here, isn't tangible?
I travel a lot. I'm thankful because I do enjoy bouncing around a little bit and going and experiencing. But just like anything else, you just have to be plugged in. I don't just. I'm equally as plugged into the office in Arizona as I am in Washington. And it's just with technology, we're able to facilitate the remote, video conferencing, phone calls, and I have physical offices in Washington as well. So anytime I need to go there and make, I have presence there, so I can physically be there at any time. But it's been really good. With COVID, a lot of things adapted, obviously, with remote work and facilitating, getting working with clients. So our in-person stuff is still there, but we have been very effective in streamlining things that we do. So when it comes to working with our clients, I could be anywhere in the world and essentially do my job and effectively do it, and it's made it very efficient for us. Like I think we do a very good job of taking care of our clients and making the burden of producing information for them less stressful.
Yeah, well, I remember distinctly, this was in a different phase of your business, but you were taking all of basically the incoming calls.
Yeah.
No, actually, you were taking the calls that have already kind of gone through your paralegals or whoever's answering the calls, but somebody who wanted to retain.
Right.
So we're golfing. I never golfed with you before. And we're always having a good time in whatever we do. But I remember sitting there and I'm driving, you're golfing, and then brrr, your phone goes off and you answer. And it was my turn to hit, so I hit, you're doing your thing, I drive you over to your ball, and you're like, oh yeah, oh, great, 1 second, boom, you drop your phone, you hit, you pick it up, awesome. So here's what, and you wouldn't miss a stride. And that day, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think you retained 4 people on the golf course.
Back 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
No, I'm just. It might have been split between the two, but at that point, I did have intake staff that were helping me facilitate the calls. But I talk with every client that retains my office, and so even if I have to go huddle in a corner or something to facilitate that, at the end of the day, it's just making yourself available. And with technology, I have everything right in front of me at all times. Like I'm plugged into everything once, which is a good thing. And you have to have that disconnect. But I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do what I need to do and be anywhere to do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about how people can utilize your services, because you guys do bankruptcy, but you also do personal injury. You got a great team. So if somebody is in need, what kind of needs would they be like, oh, you know what, maybe I should reach out to Majors Law Group?
Yeah, so right now, my firm, we focus primarily on bankruptcy, and we've been doing a lot more personal injury, and we're planning on expanding into that more. We get a lot of referrals for it, so naturally we just we deal with the referral, or we handle the referrals as they come in. But anybody that's struggling financially or uncertain about their situation, some people aren't struggling, but they're getting into these cycles of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And in some cases, we can effectively reorganize their debts and put them in a better position and ultimately plan to get them out within a certain amount of time. And so, people that feel like they're on a financial treadmill that aren't progressing and they're not, moving forward and saving money or not able to obtain their financial goals, whether it's buying a house or being debt free, you can contact me or in my office and we can see how we can help. And then with personal injury, it's pretty straightforward. If you've ever been injured in an accident, whether it's a car accident, trucking accident, motorcycle accident, we advocate for those people and help them get treatment and ultimately get them the compensation that they deserve. And so I'm super, I really enjoy personal injury as equally as much as bankruptcy, because it's a different fight, but it's exciting because you can really change somebody's life if they've been wronged. And I can say in my career of resolving personal injury cases, I've gotten some fantastic results for my clients.
Yeah, no, I know you've told me a few of them. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's if you've been hurt in a serious accident and you want good representation, and ultimately one, to get your property damage resolved, get good treatment, and then ultimately, go beat up these insurance companies for all the money that you deserve, then I'm absolutely your guy to do that.
Yeah, and it seems like that's a tough negotiation, especially with the insurance companies. I mean, what are some things people should look out for when they're a part of personal injury? If they haven't contacted you yet.
I think the biggest thing is not talking to when you're involved in an accident, the first thing you should do is make sure you're safe, and if you've been injured, call 911 and get treatment. If it's something that you feel like you can, seek treatment, shortly, immediately after, then, I can help provide you, give you a treatment provider that's going to work with you on a no out-of-pocket cost, a lien basis, meaning we don't worry about resolving the medical bills until the personal injury claim settles. But to answer your question, obviously the injury, making sure your, injuries are taken care of. But secondly is don't talk to insurance companies. They'll try to befriend you and make it seem like, it's okay to talk to them. At the end of the day, anything you say can be used against, your claim to undermine the claim, and it could create ambiguity and resolution. And so for me, I always tell my clients, don't talk to insurance adjusters. That's what you hire an attorney for. Let us keep them at bay for you until you're done treating and we go resolve the claim.
It makes a lot of sense. Like if I get in an auto accident, for example, and one of the claims adjusters calls me or whoever on the insurance side, and I tell them, that I'm feeling okay, and I use a word like okay, they're going to put that down, right?
Right. And then, if you say something like, oh, I feel fine, I wasn't really that banged up, and then you try to submit a demand that, seeks, policy limits, and it just creates questions, right? And so, oftentimes people don't feel, when you get into an accident, adrenaline's pumping and you're in a different mind state. And so rather than, potentially diminishing your claim or saying something that, maybe not be accurate, it's best just to let an attorney communicate on your behalf and let us deal with the insurance companies.
Yeah, because 3 days later, my knees ballooned up.
Yeah.
I feel like crap, but I said I felt okay back here.
Yep.
That's something that you guys would have to go and try to not sweep under the rug, but have to manage.
Yeah,
and deal with.
It just makes it a little bit more difficult, and rather than creating any issues, it's better to let your attorney speak on your behalf, and that way, that's what our jobs are, is to make to communicate on your behalf and not deal with the insurance companies.
Right. Big tip: you get in an accident, shut up, call Majors Law Group, make sure that your injuries are taken care of, and that's going to be the best for your care.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, this is great, man. So what's the next 5 years look like in your mind? What's the goals?
So right now, I'm really happy with the way our practice is structured, and so I do plan on doing a little bit more expansion in other areas. Like I said, we're getting ready to do some personal injury expansion and take on more of those types of cases. I'm also pending licensure in California right now.
Okay.
Funny story is I took the bar exam, in California. It was the first bar exam I took, and long story short, I was very short of passing. It was the only bar exam I didn't pass. I passed Arizona on the first try, and since COVID, California rolled out this provisional licensing program, and they said, hey, if you took the bar in the last few years, you scored within this score range, you can enter into this program and essentially be fully admitted. So before I was before I headed this way, I was actually submitting a few more documents, but I'm hoping within the next couple months I'll be fully admitted in California, and then by that time, you never know, maybe we'll have something down in SoCal or down by the beach or something. So
awesome, man. Well, are you going to be doing anything in Bakersfield?
Bakersfield?
Yeah.
If I was to do Northern California, I'd probably put an office in Sacramento. That's where I grew up, and I'm very familiar with that area. It's something I'm just kind of ironing out, but there's a lot of people that need help there, and when that time comes, we might be there to help them.
Cool. So. Sounds good. Yeah, I have a couple connections that might work out for you in Bakersfield down the line.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Well, this is great. You have always impressed me with the way you've dealt with things, because I've watched a lot of businesses form and grow, but it's different to watch an individual start a business and grow because you don't have any partners. I mean, other than your wife, of course.
Yeah.
But you don't have a partner like I have a partner in a couple of my different businesses, which is totally beneficial for me, but a lot of people don't like partners. You've pretty much bootstrapped it, done it yourself, and you're one of the fastest growing business owners that I know to get from where you 0 to where you're at today. So, much applause to you,
Thank
to
you.
do that. And I know it's just the beginning. And I know that there's some behind the scenes stuff. You've had a lot of freaking challenges and difficulties that you've dealt with in addition to making your business grow.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, all the things that you get thrown in terms of life and curveballs, and not everything's going to go the way you always plan, right? And I take all the things that I've gone through in life, and I use those to motivate me to not only work harder but do better. And I'm very thankful. The last few years have been great, and I wouldn't change a whole lot. But there, like you said, there's things that have come up, with personal life and just familial things, and everybody has those issues. But I've really embraced what's going on, and I use those things to motivate me. And honestly, I think it's made me better. And you learn from what you go through, and you can never stop learning. And I'm a firm believer. When it comes to just putting in the work and the effort and setting a goal, as long as you do the right thing and you work hard, you can obtain your goals. And sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer, but you just keep grinding and you just keep pushing.
Awesome. Are there any books or material that you would recommend to entrepreneurs that helped you? Or
I don't really, right now I usually just scrub case law and the bankruptcy code and other things that are going on. So
sounds riveting.
Yeah, it's absolutely captivating, especially at 10 o'clock at night. Good reads. I don't think I have any particular books that I would say, hey, as an entrepreneur, you need to read this and that. There is a gentleman. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name. I started reading the book and I haven't finished it yet. Wasn't ready for that one, but it's gosh, who wrote the dang book? Anyways, but his whole message is this: is as an entrepreneur, or anything you do in life, whether it's a fitness goal, whether it's an entrepreneurial goal, like you're going to be in a comfort zone, and until you push yourself out of that, and you really work hard, like that's what it takes to be successful. Even 3 years into my practice, I strive to be up early, and I can say confidently I put in 12, 14-hour days, because that's what you have to do if you want to be successful. You got to be strong-minded in the sense that when you have a mountain of work, you don't look at it and be deflated. You let that motivate you to just power through it, do the right thing, and then when you can sit back when all the work is done, you can say, man, that felt so good. Like when I have a caseload and I have to work through it, and it's 7 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I have these 3 things I have to resolve. I'm like, that's great. I'm gonna push through this, and when it hits 10 o'clock and I'm done, I feel so good, and I feel so accomplished. And so, as an entrepreneur, when you go through growth and expansion, like in anything in life, you just have to be willing to put in the time and make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Well, it's cool, man. You live the way you talk, which
Thank you.
What it's all about, man. Well, hey, I know you guys had to get some good stuff out of this. If you're an entrepreneur thinking about starting a business, already in business for yourself, or you work within a company, I mean, all these principles apply. So make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe to our channel, reach out to Majors Law Group. Where else can they find you, by the way?
So you can Google us. You can find us anywhere on Google. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We have a pretty strong online presence. So if you just Google us, you should be able to find us pretty close.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks,
This was a lot of fun. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next time.